Welcome back to the training Creating a Trauma-Informed Library. We're still in Module 3, Trauma-Informed Principles. This is Lesson 9, Personal Safety and Communication Techniques. When you're on a plane, you're supposed to put on your own oxygen mask before assisting others. The same is true when you are implementing trauma-informed principles. You must treat yourself with trauma-informed principles first and protect your own mental well-being before helping others. It is not selfish to put yourself and your well-being first. It is necessary. Creating and maintaining boundaries is one of the best ways of maintaining psychological safety. Boundaries are a fairly simple concept. They delineate what is and is not acceptable, but they are infinitely harder to put in place and enforce. Many marginalized identities, women especially, are generally encouraged to be accommodating, to not make a fuss, to be passive. Having boundaries goes against that socialization. Because of this socialization, then, it is important to be careful in how boundaries are conveyed. Being firm is necessary to put up and maintain boundaries, but being too firm can be seen as being uncooperative or being difficult. Part of having and maintaining appropriate boundaries is not crossing others' boundaries. Keeping in mind what is and is not appropriate and healthy to share at work is necessary to both your own mental well-being and coworkers' well-being. Ultimately, the best idea may be to share with a professional rather than a coworker or friend. Mental health professionals can also help you figure out the best, most responsible way of sharing with others too. When trauma is not so raw, then it becomes easier and healthier to share with others. Libraries are not the place where trauma should be treated or addressed. Rather, libraries should be places where people feel like they can go, where they will not be re-traumatized. The library can then serve as a safe place where people can receive information about where their trauma can be addressed, such as free or low-cost mental health services available to the community. Just by being a safe and trauma-informed place, the library can add to an individual's community and social support networks, allowing them to address their trauma easier in the proper environment. One way to assert and maintain boundaries is by communicating your boundaries. Empowering yourself to tell someone when they overstep or is in some way making you feel unsafe is incredibly powerful. If you do not feel comfortable talking to that person or feel as though your intentions may be misconstrued, sending an email explaining what happened and how you felt is also appropriate and perfectly professional, so long as you maintain professional language. Setting an example of that behavior too can be very empowering to those around you who may not feel comfortable or safe being the only one asserting their boundaries. If communicating your boundaries does not work and you do not feel safe continuing to assert yourself, gray rocking may be a good option. Gray rocking is a technique that is widespread among those who interact with people with narcissistic traits to maintain personal safety, but it can be used in just about any situation where personal, psychological, and/or physical safety is foremost in mind. This technique is where you are maintaining communication, but you just aren't giving anywhere for the conversation to go, or any information that could be potentially used against you or in a way you don't want. You continue the conversation, but in a way that you become uninteresting, like a gray rock. By engaging, you prevent yourself from becoming manipulative, potentially escalating situations, or being labeled in a way you don't want. However, you are maintaining your boundaries by not engaging in conversations that feel unsafe. While trying to maintain boundaries and personal safety, grounding is a useful technique to use. Dissociation is a fairly common response to stressful situations, with many people feeling mild dissociation, feelings of zoning out or not being fully present. In difficult situations, it is oftentimes easier to dissociate yourself from the situation than to engage, but ultimately that approach can be harmful. You do not feel in control, which is essential in personal safety. For times when you find yourself mildly dissociating or beginning to feel stressed, taking a moment to notice your surroundings can be very helpful in staying grounded. A pretty common grounding technique among mental health professionals is taking a deep breath through your nose, holding it for a few seconds, then slowly exhaling. Repeat somewhere around 5 times until you are calmer and more present. Another technique to ground yourself that takes a little more effort but may be effective for more stressful situations or greater feelings of dissociation is the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. Look around and find 5 things you can see. Then acknowledge 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. If you are in an environment and situation that allows you to enhance those 5-4-3-2-1 senses, like lighting a candle or taking a sip of juice, then you are encouraged to use your surroundings to your benefit. Coloring, holding ice in one hand, listening to music, and stretching or yoga are also all examples of fairly common grounding techniques. One of the best things about grounding techniques is that they can be just about anything that helps someone focus, and they can be easily adapted to various situations. Additionally, groups can benefit from some level of grounding at the start and end of meetings too, especially when the meetings are discussing sensitive topics or significant world events are taking their toll on people. We've come to the end of this lesson. Follow the links for any topics that you want to learn more about. Otherwise, I will see you in the next lesson.